playoffs, 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 playoffs. I.
SML! SML. The truth around the SML podcast. Playoff edition. Coming at you. Fellas, Coach Pauly here again. We're once again back on the truth around the SML podcast playoff edition. It's going to be another action-packed show here for you guys. It's a playoff edition. Again, for the agenda here, before I bring on our caller, highly anticipated, one of the legends of SML, one of the great guys on chat. Everybody likes him, friend to everybody, enemy to nobody. We're going to bring him on in a second. First, I'm just going to go around what I'm doing today. After I bring on the caller, I'm going to ask him a couple questions. Then I'm going to go give Pauly's playoff predictions. And then I'm going to end off with two questions in water cooler talk. Well, one question, and then I'm going to analyze the game everybody wants to see, which I'll go over that in water cooler talk. But the question in water cooler talk is, what does sim truly mean to you? And what I did is I asked 10 random coaches from different backgrounds around the league to give me their definition. And it's very interesting that each of them, their definition varied a whole bunch. So it's going to be interesting to get when I get into that. But without further ado, I'm going to introduce my coach here on the Truth Podcast. And I'm going to introduce him by playing a little soundbite. After I play this soundbite, I think you might know who he is. But if not, I'll introduce him after that. Anyways, here we go.
Louder! Show me the money! That's it, brother, but you got to yell! Show me the money! I need to feel you, Jerry! Show me the money! Jerry, you better yell! Show me the money!
Without further ado, I want to introduce Coach. You guessed it, Coach Grams, Dallas Cowboys owner. Coach Grams, are you there?
Yo.
Yes, sir. Here he is. Thank you for coming on the Truth Podcast. How's everything in Dallas these days?
Good. First time caller, long time listener.
Thank you. So for the first question for you, how are you going into the playoffs? Are you pretty healthy going in? Do you have any injuries that are going to hurt you?
This has been a weird season. I think the only player that got hurt was my backup running back. I put him in the game in garbage time like week 6, and he missed 8 weeks after the first carry. But other than that, he's back, and I don't have any injuries now.
Nice. That's perfect. Perfect scenario going to the playoffs without a doubt. The second question I have for you is, who do you think, suppose you make the NFC Championship, who do you think is going to be there with you?
Yeah, I haven't looked at the bracket, so that's tough. It's also interesting because Gov's not there this year. That doesn't happen very often. Noel getting knocked out. It was definitely somebody that I wasn't looking forward to playing again in the playoffs. He has a very dynamic offense, and I found him, to be tough even without French. So with French, watching that game today.
Oh yeah.
Crap. I don't know how the matchups work. Future is always in the conversation. Oshi's always there. Mm-hmm. You got Sunday. I think that Prime has made it obvious his opinion. I kind of agree with it that it's a game of matchups, and it really depends on who plays who. Uh-huh. But I think the Oshi is the guy you got to go through, or Sunday based on last year, because those are the guys that have done it before.
Yeah, no, I get you. I totally agree. One of those two guys will probably be there with you if you get lucky enough to meet him. I guarantee one of those two guys. And, Bears are tough, man. With that RB, the Cohen I just saw, it was unbelievable. Seeing those two running backs, it's just run for 100, or gain for 70, gain for 60, touchdown for 80. It's crazy. I wish I had.
you get so frustrated, right? And then you do things that you wouldn't normally do, and you start trucking and hit sticking, every every tackle, and then you're missing tackles even more because you just want to hurt them because they're running all over you.
I agree. Yeah, no, it's frustrating. And then you bring in the user perspective of Oshie with this running back. If he gets those big plays, it's just a headache. It's just a total headache. But hey, it is what it is. And who do you see making it out of the AFC to the Super Bowl?
Man, out of the AFC, I mean, does Prime ever lose if he actually makes the playoffs? I'm not sure. So obviously you got to start with him.
Yeah.
I played Meats earlier in the year, but I knocked out Lamar Jackson,
Mm-hmm.
and I still barely beat Meats too. So he's gonna be right there as well.
Yeah.
And then I think I saw that Dump snuck into the playoffs after starting really slow, so he's
Yep.
been pretty hot. The AFC playoffs are going to be lit. They're going to be fire. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, to say the least. Yeah, they're definitely going to be. I don't know about the AFC. I have a little bit more to say about that later in the water cooler talk. I'll go over that in my predictions. You'll see who I think's going to make it. I kind of just changed in the last 2 minutes. It's going to be close no matter what, without a doubt. So I got two more questions for you. So I know you're Mr. Nice Guy. You're a nice guy. You're definitely a guy I trust with $1 million. You seem that kind of nice guy. You don't seem like the NYT type that would run to a strip club or whatever. But so the question is, if there was one person in the SML you'd want to mercy rule, who would it be?
Mercy rule. So I actually mercy rule someone in the NFL, in the SML who would be at top of this list, and,
All right.
and it's obviously Conk.
Conk.
And I did, but it was in primer, and then he got me back a couple weeks later. I think he beat me in the SML by a touchdown or so. But yeah, I was really happy to kind of step on his throat the first time we played in primer.
Wow, that's a very popular choice, to say the least. Everybody says Conk, Conk, Conk. It's either Conk or Prime. Those are the two top, good things. Nobody wants to beat down on poor Pauly. That's a good thing. So
and I would say Prime too, but Prime, A, it's not realistic. Prime doesn't lose by 30. And B, Prime, at least in my regard, has not been too over the top. If I was Meats or Future, I would probably pick Prime. Maybe even Gov too.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. Everybody just wants to, beat the best, or once was the best, or whatever. We'll find out this year, anyways. So the last question I have for you, and it's a question that I asked 10 randomly selected coaches in the SML. And I didn't ask you because I know you're going to be on the show, but this is a question I'm going to talk about later in the show in Water Cooler Talk. And in 3 sentences or 4, what is your definition of true sim Madden?
So this is interesting. I think other than maybe one other person in the league, I probably have the biggest opinions on this. So I might go for 5 to 10 sentences, but
that's fine.
For me, sim is not doing something because you saw it in the NFL. Sim is doing something that occurs in the NFL on a regular basis. So sim isn't running, the 49er 1988 offense where you're going no huddle every play. Sim isn't, running out of shotgun every play. Sim isn't using your base defense when the other team's in 4 wide every play. For me, it's doing what the typical NFL team would do. And I think there's a difference there because I think, one of the things that the slogan and the advertisements for the NFL has said is, everything happens on any given Sunday and you're going to see crazy shit. But that doesn't mean that it's necessarily sim. If you're going to do the same thing in every situation. For example, you're going to play the same play every first down. No NFL team would get away with that. You're doing that because the game allows you to do that, not because it's actually strategic. And if you're going to QB sneak on the goal line every time, and I say that because that happened in the game today. Not to say that it's something that gets done every time, but if it did, teams would scheme for that and be able to stop it, but the game mechanics don't always allow for that. So for me, it's doing what a normal team would do. And what I wish that Madden would get back to, and it hasn't been this way for the last 2 or 3 years. It used to be a chess match. It used to be, I know what you like to do, so I'm going to do this to stop it. And then you're going to have to show me that and come back with something else. So I used to always have 4 or 5 plays in the same formation with a similar look and have you think that it was going to be something and then throw something else at you. I'd really like it to get back to that kind of chess.
I agree. No, I totally agree. Since you opened that can of worms there, I'm just gonna ask you one last question. I didn't even have this on the sheet. I'm just gonna kind of remix this thing. So as a football coach, I coach Friday nights, whatever, high school, lower level. But if I see a team, if I'm running say power right, and I see I'm pounding at 5 to 6 yards a carry, then I mix it up with an ISO or a little stretch, but it's to the right because I noticed the left side of their defense is weak. Okay, where I'm concerned, I'm going to keep making them bleed until they find a way to stop it. Where I'm looking at it as a coach, I think it's a defense's job to stop what I'm doing. It's not my job to stop what I'm doing. What do you think about that?
I actually I somewhat agree with you on that. I actually played recently a game where I threw a slant to the left 3 straight times, which I'll never do.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one defender on the left side of the formation, and that's what they're giving me. Then I feel like the defense has to show you something different before you need to show something different on offense.
Mm-hmm.
But when the defense is showing you, 3 guys blitzing from the right hand side, and you're still running the toss because it's OP to the right hand side, that's more of a fault of Madden and not a fault of play. So it's a fine line. It's not easy to say what's right and what's not.
Yeah.
But again, if the defense isn't mixing it up, then I don't think the onus is on the offense to start mixing it up either.
Yeah, it's definitely a chess match without a doubt. It's offense adjusting to the defense and defense adjusting to the offense, and that's what makes the beautiful game that we love. It's a game of adjustments. You don't just sit there and when I call plays, my playbook from the first week to the last week is totally different depending on who I play, and that's how I try to play my Madden games. I had a couple of plays depending on tendencies of my owner, but that's just what I do. Now, it doesn't mean everybody has to do it. But Coach Grams, I just want to let you know, you're one of my favorite coaches in this league because you're almost my age and you're one of the top guys in the league, and I give you much respect for that because I know I probably won't be that now anymore, but I look through you for guidance and leadership, and I just want to let you know I have much respect for you. And not to mention, you're the first guy I played in Primer that was part of the SML, so I just want to let you know I have much respect, and thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is fun, and I always enjoy when I get to speak up a little bit, even though I don't do it that often.
All right, Coach Grams, go walk on the beach, man. Enjoy the day.
All right, thanks.
All right, talk to you soon. All right, guys, so next, I'm going to bring you around the league here. I'm going to bring you around the league as far as playoff goes. The playoffs, right? The playoffs are what we want to see. The playoffs is what we have here in front of us now, man. That's the playoffs, so we'll get ready for it. So, playoffs, we have in the AFC, Colts, you know who that is, number 1 seed. Got the bye with the Pats, QB stud, smartest guy, 13-3. Ravens got the 3 seed. Broncos, 9-6 with a 4 seed. Pittsburgh got the 5th seed. And then the Jags with the 6th seed. They just snuck in there. Just snuck in, my boy Dump, even though he sustained a major injury. I'm going to go through these matchups now and give you my AFC predictions. So quickly, Ravens and Jags game. Okay, the first meeting between these two, it was a Ravens win 29-17. So, Ravens are 8th in points for with 26 points. Jags, are 20th in points for with 21 points. And then points against, the Ravens are 7th and the Jags are 10th. So, my prediction for this game, knowing that the number 1 receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars and Coach Dump is on the sidelines watching, it's a sad scenario, but I'm going to say the Ravens take this matchup 27-21. I'm going to say that. Only because his receiver's hurt. My prediction would be different if it wasn't, because I got a little insight on Meek's game later, on a couple games down the road. But for now, he wins this game 27-21. The next AFC game is Broncos at Steelers. Now, brace yourself. The first matchup between these two teams, the Steelers won 40-0. Unless it was a sim game, that's a pretty ugly score if it wasn't a sim game. So either way, 40-0. All right, Steelers are feeling confident. The Broncos are 7th in pass. Okay, points for 26 points, and they're 21st in points against, 25 points. The Steelers, on the other hand, are 10th in points for. Okay, and 9th in points against with 19 a game. So my predictions here, I'm going to go 31-20 Steelers. Okay, only because if that score was real, then I just think the Steelers have more. They're in a harder division. Broncos are in a cheese factory, or let me say a pillow fight division, I should say. Pillow fight division, because it's pretty easy for the most part. So 31-20. Okay, now the next round of the AFC, that means we see the Ravens and the Pats matchup. Okay, Meats, his game. I've watched a couple games. Great runner. Okay, because his running back is awesome. Pretty good running with Lamar, making plays. But his pass offense, it's he needs to get to work on that if he wants to win a ring here in the SML. I've seen it. It's kind of throw it deep to his stud Brown or a couple other routes, but he doesn't seem very comfortable with the pass. And I think QB Stud will know that. He watches 17 games a day, locks his kids and his wife out of the game room, and just watches games all day, and I think he's going to be ready for this. So I say that game, I don't know, it's going to be tough, but I say 31-21. Okay, Pats win that game, and they're off to the AFC Championship. Now, on the other side, that means Colts in Pittsburgh. And I think, it's the GOAT. If prime time's back, I see blood. I see blood in the water. He's really coming for vengeance now. He thinks somebody else has control of his kingdom in the SML. But I see him killing or beating Pitt 38-24. So it sets up the Pats versus Colts. What we want to see in the AFC, correct? The first matchup was, pretty much, QB Stud said, hey, Prime, put your pants down and just let me smack it, because that's what happened. That's what's happened to that ass. He got smacked against QB Stud came in ready. And this is my prediction. And I'll talk about it more, the Colts game, later in the water cooler talk. But I'm going to call, I don't know if it's an upset or not. I don't know why I feel this. I don't know why. I've only played the Colts. I haven't played the Pats yet. But I'm feeling 24-21 Pats. I don't know why. I'm feeling it. I don't know why. I think QB Stud's going to be prepared for Prime's game. Because I was kind of prepared, so he's going to be really prepared if I was kind of prepared. I just see it. I know the GOAT's going to hate it. I know it. I'm probably going to be on the Echoes show, but I can't. This is the truth, and that's what I feel. The Pats 24, Colts 21, and especially because the running back's out. That's the big one. His running backs are, 5 yards in a cloud of dust type of running backs. They can't break it like his old one. And that's what makes me believe that QB Stud can pull this off and send the GOAT home once again. So I don't know. We'll see about that. Now, on the NFC side, so this might not be correct because our SML, how should I say, statistics guys or whatever you call it, the smart guys, they haven't really given me maybe the right matchups, but I'm going to try, okay? I'm going to try to get the right matchups here. So, I guess there's a game to be played that might affect the matchup. So right now, if this happens, I got NFC, I got Skins with a bye, number 1 seed, 15-1, Bears 13-2. Then I got this is a tough one. I don't know who to pick here, But, let's say, I don't know. I don't know who to pick here. Let's say, I don't know, Packers, okay? Then we got the Hawks, Boys, and then Pack, right? So, first round matchup, if this matchup happens, is Falcons and Cowboys. And this is if Meats was right. So, it could be 50-50 chance here. So, Falcons and Cowboys, previous meeting, I think the boys won it 31-15, if I'm not mistaken. Or it could be the other way around. But in this matchup, no matter what, I'm taking the Cowboys, man. I'm taking the Cowboys 31-21 in Grams, the guy who was just on the show. I'm taking him 31-21 over NYT. Might be a little nervous. Hasn't been in the playoffs in a little bit. So I take the veteran in the playoffs over him. Next game, if this is correct again, will be the 3 seed Seahawks against the 6 seed Packers. The previous matchup had the Packers winning 24-17. This matchup here, I have it flipped. I have it because I just played the Packers and I beat the Packers. So anybody that I can beat, is in trouble in the playoffs, I think. So Seahawks win 24-21. So that being said, the next round, if that happens, the Seahawks are the 3 seed. They're going to play the Bears. And then I have the Bears winning that, okay, 28-20. and go into the NFC Championship. And then I have the boys and the Skins, baby. But I'm sorry, Gramps. It's the baby goat, man. And, I know you want to play him, but I see that game 28-21 Skins. So it's a Bears Skins in the NFC Championship, and I see the Skins barely winning that game. I think that game's going to be close. That's the hardest game to call in these playoffs so far is the Skins-Bears game. Because I don't know, Bears scare me, man. But I'm going to stick with the baby goat. 24-21 Skins. So it's Skins, Pats, Super Bowl, baby. Skins, Pats, Super Bowl. Even though I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears were there instead of the Skins. They have a better chance of going than the Colts do over the Pats. Because I think QB Stud is going to be ready. And that first game that I saw was ugly. So that being said, I say the Skins repeat in a beautiful performance, 31-30. Last second field goal, Skins win it, and repeat. Repeat, baby, in a 2-time SML champion. So that's the call from Coach Pauly right there. So I hope you guys, there's a lot of games that can go up in the air. This is the SML. It's any given day here in the SML, a team can do well. For those of you that are out, make sure you pay attention because, it's going to be a very interesting playoff to say the least. Now, you know what it's time for? Everybody knows what it's time for. Let's do it.
It's time for watercolor talk around the SML with Paul.
So, water cooler talk. End off the show with some water cooler talk. You guys know, okay, like I mentioned earlier, I had a chance to sit down and talk and ask 10 random SML coaches from different backgrounds. So what I wanted to do is ask some coaches that have coached, okay, that have only coached any level of football, okay, that have played or coached, okay, any level of football or played, and then those that haven't played football before and maybe were a cross-country, soccer, hockey athlete, but just came on and just has a love for Madden. So I asked them one question in 4 sentences or less. What is your definition of sim football? And I got so many different answers. It was pretty interesting. I'm going to read a couple answers. I'm not going to give you names. And then I'm going to go into what after I compiled all the results, what I think was the common denominator in all of it. All right. One of them was my definition of sim football is basically someone who plays realistic to real life as possible. Yes, it's a video game and we can't replicate some things, but fair, realistic, and respectful is sim ball. I agree with that 100%. And I had another one, sim in my eyes means imitating real life football in a way to also make it fun for people playing the game. Okay, agree with that. I got, to me, sim football is emulating real life as closely as possible in terms of Madden League, means significantly mixing up play calls, schemes, formations, showing different looks as much as possible. Go with what works in a situation or a game, but, don't use it all the time. Okay, don't abuse the AI. That was a common theme too. Don't abuse the AI. I got this. Sim football means try to make gameplay as close to realistic as possible. Simple enough. Do I think our league is sim? Yes. However, I feel Madden allows us to play sim. Does not let us play sim to the fullest. And then I got this is a simple one. I like this one. What do you think sim football means to you? Just asshole free play. If you're an asshole, if an asshole would do it, don't do it. So that was another, close one, easy one. My last one was, sim football is experience that simulates authentic football action as closely as reasonable possible in a video game where given. This includes not only what to do, but more importantly, what not to do. So, those are some, and I don't want to go into all of them, but I found it interesting. Number one thing was play the game as closely as to the real thing, which is what simulation means, folks. That's what it means, okay? And then the second thing is don't abuse the AI. So those are two common denominators that I found there that everybody had. Then there was, here and there, depending on where your background was, it came differently. So I had some guys tell me, it's up to, the other side of the ball to stop you. And it's not up to you to stop yourself just because you have to do something to make it sim. If like I brought up a Grams, if you're running the ball and you're running at 5 or 6 yards a clip and you keep doing that run, power right or a right-sided run just to take advantage, the defense should be able to adjust to that. It's a game of adjustments. This isn't tiddlywinks, guys. This is a game of adjustments. I don't think, after playing this game for so long, since 2004, this game 20, Madden 20, I don't think there's anything that can't be stopped. I really don't, especially if you know it's coming. So if a guy's run a play maybe once, twice, or 3 times a game, by the 3rd time, you should know it's coming, and it's on you to stop it. And I've seen in this league that I run a play once, yeah, okay. I run a play twice, and a lot of the good guys are already jumping it for, interceptions and losses. And that's what makes it great. That's what sim football is, adjusting to your opponent. Not just sitting there and saying, oh, the guy keeps throwing corner outs. I'm going to tell the commission, he keeps throwing corner outs. Dude, get a coverage, stop the corner outs. Okay, make him throw something else that he's less comfortable doing. That's the simulation. That's the simulation part of it. I think there's only one thing in this game, or a couple things that you really can't stop, or you can, but it's hard. And number one is rolling out with a QB without pressure, sitting there and waiting for one of those fast RBs to overrun the coverage and for TDs. That's one thing that's hard to stop, but you can stop it. But that's one thing that's kind of glitchy effect. If no pressure's coming, you just roll out of the pocket and throw with a bullseye or whatever that QB skill is these days. But, that's one thing that's hard to stop. But overall, guys, we're a community here. All of us, we don't have all day to be in our playbooks, practicing new plays. And for myself, I only run plays that I've practiced. I don't pick random plays like these other guys. I only feel comfortable, just like in real life. I only feel comfortable plays that, I've done in pregame or I've practiced before. Call me old school, but that's just me. That's just me. But again, if a defense is showing me the same look on D, I'm going to expose them the same way. It's a vice versa mentality. You have to play both ways. It's a chess game. Like on Friday nights, like I said, if I'm running the hitch for 6 yards and they're still backed off, I'm going to keep running that hitch until they press, and then I'm going to go with that corner up top. Fake the hitch, go to the corner, or something else, to that same nature. So it's about adjustments, a game of adjustments. I know it's a video game. You can't adjust to everything, but, do your best. And if something's, somebody's manipulating the AI, it's pretty easy to tell, especially if their record's 14-1 or whatever. But, for us, low level guys, man, we're just going out there and trying to. All right, now I'm going to break down the matchup that everybody wants to see. Everybody wants to see this matchup. Even though I didn't predict this matchup, I think everybody wants to see this matchup. And that's Prime in the AFC versus the baby GOAT Sunday in the NFC in the Super Bowl. Everybody wants to see this matchup. This will set ratings records in the SML, I think, if this happens. But let's break down this matchup. I had the pleasure to play both of them. And my first couple games of the season, I played Sunday, right? He beat me 20-0. I couldn't really do anything on offense like usual. But his game, it's hard to prepare for. Watching film on both these guys, it's hard to prepare for him. Okay, he does run a couple concepts, like he runs, a lot of double seams, and then he runs players underneath on ins and on drag routes for second and third reads and guy in the flat. He also does that. He likes those clear out routes, right? His defense is unbelievable. His ends come in fast. His safeties can cause a lot of fumbles, his safeties. And he runs the ball well with Geis outside the tackles, obviously. He's a dangerous runner. Another thing I've seen from him is another concept he likes to run is that post on the weak side followed by that wheel route by the running back. So if you notice the post is not there because of the coverage, most likely the wheel is going to be there. But he also has backside noise coming across, backside coming in as an in route and a drag route coming in as his bailout routes, just in case. So he's very dangerous, but he does these concepts out of different formations. So you can never get a read on him. And he does shotgun, under center. He's comfortable in everything. He's very, very the opposite of one-dimensional, I would say. He's very multi-dimensional because he's hard to prepare for, and his user's pretty good. He can bait you pretty good. He's pretty aggressive on the user because he knows he can be, because his pass rush is going to be there in a couple seconds. So it'll be interesting to see if he plays Prime and see what happens with that defense, Now, Prime, on the other hand, I've played him. I prepared for him. It was about a 10-point game. I think I missed a field goal of like 30 yards to make it a 10-point game. But he was without his star receiver, which would have made the game easier for me if he had that star receiver, because I know who he's targeting. Now, with all his receivers, I didn't really know. I knew, but I didn't know who he was going to. But his running back, that's the biggest story that nobody's talking about in the SML, is his running back. And that's the reason, he's not going to go further in these playoffs. because his running backs are 5 yards in a cloud of dust kind of guys, and that's who they are right now. So that's what he has. He needs a home run hitter, but Ziegler, he's hurt for the season. That's the biggest injury that will cost him the season right there, I think. If it wasn't for that, I predict him to beat Sunday. But as of right now, I think Sunday has the, if these two met each other, I would say 28-24 matchup Sunday. Just because I don't think he has that home run hitter right now in the running back position. He's going to be forced to throw it more than he wants. And in Prime's game, okay, he's a vertical progression guy. So he's not, he doesn't do a lot of left to right progressions. He's a vertical progression guy. So what that means is he's looking post right away. He's looking post on 75% of his plays. He's not really a corner guy too much. He's looking post, either out of the slot or the wide X or Y positions. He's looking post, right? So you're on the post, dude. He has that in or that drag route right underneath that coming in, working off that. So vertical progression. You're working far to near. You're working right there. Center field, you're still staying pretty much in center field. Depends on the linebacker depth. And then he has the delay RB hitch route, okay, delay, that comes right over the defensive line and sits there. And he looks for that as an alternative checkout, bailout route. Or he has a swing route come. If he doesn't see you cover the swing, he'll hit that quick before he goes to any of his other progressions. So that's one of his, the way he looks at a defense. The next way, he likes unbalanced sets, like unbalanced shotgun sets. He likes that. He likes, more linemen on one side than the other. That's what the unbalanced sets mean. He loves that, okay, because he loves running those dives and those inside zones out of those unbalanced shotgun sets because he's not very comfortable under center. Much like Peyton Manning and the Colts of years ago, he likes to be able to read the defense from a shotgun position. And I've noticed that about him. He's not very comfortable under center, but when he does go under center, expect a play action. That's what I see out of him, and a progression read levels concept out of play action a lot of times. So that's what I see out of him. That's what I see out of Prime. He's more predictable, I would say, than Sunday. For me, anyways. Every coach is different. For me, it was easier for me to play him. I lost to both of them, obviously, but it was easier if I was going to pick one at this point. And I think the loss of his running back will cost him a championship. Either, okay, to my prediction, the Patriots in the AFC Championship, or okay, and if he does make the Super Bowl, to the Skins. Okay, that's my prediction, and I'm sticking to it. Again, if you get hurt feelings, please don't listen to these podcasts. I'm only telling the truth. Now, Primer. I heard you're doing good down there. Keep it up, because we want an SML too. Not just Primer, but SML too, just as strong as the league up here. And pay attention, guys. Make sure you go on our YouTube channel and see all of our wonderful shows. We got great shows, different personalities, and different strengths. So make sure you get on that. So now, without further ado, I want to wish all the teams in the playoffs hella luck, man. Hella luck, and we'll be watching. Okay, the not so fortunate be watching. I wish every team good luck, and I'll see you guys next season. For now, the truth out.